So over 70 million people actually claim Irish heritage, and we can chart at Epic 1,500 years of emigration. And it's really charting what people did. They often left in sorrow, they were maybe forced out of the country, some were seeking opportunity, but it's the legacy of what the Irish people have achieved around the world.
That's Aileesh Carew, CEO and Museum Director of Dublin's Epic, the Irish Emigration Museum. But we're recording this episode in Philadelphia. We were both drawn to the city of brotherly love to attend the Irish American Business Chamber and Network's Ambassadors Awards, held the next day, where Aileesh would accept the Uachtarán Award on behalf of Epic as an organization that has shown exemplary leadership in philanthropic contributions of time and talent to nonprofits in Ireland. It's Epic's 10th anniversary year, a decade that saw the museum's meteoric rise in the ranks of leading Irish and European tourism destinations. And Aileesh has been there almost every step of the way, taking over the Epic leadership role in 2023. So join us in the upstairs room above Fergie's Pub for our Epic conversation. What's the story that Epic tells, and how does it tell it?
So Epic, the Irish Immigration Museum, purpose really is to tell the impact of the Irish around the world. So over 70 million people actually claim Irish heritage, and we can chart at Epic 1,500 years of immigration. And it's really charting what people did. They often left in sorrow, they were maybe forced out of the country, some were seeking opportunity, but it's the legacy of what the Irish people have achieved around the world. And our founder, Neville Isdell, felt very strongly that story. He himself is an Irish immigrant, and he always felt when people asked him, "Where are you from?" and he would say, "I'm Irish, actually," that opened doors, and that there was always a warmth and a connection and an affinity that people had for Irish people. So he just felt the story needed to be told. So Epic opened in 2016. We're a little bit different to a lot of other museums in that we are fully digital. We don't have artifacts. We call ourselves a storytelling museum. So there are over 20 galleries that chart 1,500 years of immigration. It's very emotional. If you're an Irish immigrant, you can very much get a sense of the land that your people left, the causes and reasons, the pull and push factors for immigration when they left. But it's in a very fun way. The museum is visually very beautiful. It's very immersive. It's suitable for people, all generations. So we get a lot of multi-generational families coming to laugh, to cry, to be entertained, to have fun, and to leave with really a deeper sense and understanding of what it means to be Irish.
In my visit there, I was aware of the tragedy. I was aware of the sadness behind some of these stories, but I came away with the joy, the exuberance, and the contribution. And also, I think, a story that many people could relate to without being Irish. Many people around the world have an immigration or an emigration story, either themselves or in their family, that can tie into this.
And I think that's the beauty of Epic. Like today we were talking about James Barry, who was the founder of the American Navy. He himself was Irish, immigrated, ran away to sea when he was young and ended up as the founder of the Navy here in America. So those stories and those celebration and the legacy that has come from really all the roots back to Ireland are so important.
You open up a great topic because we're in Philadelphia. You're in town here to receive the Uachtarán Award. How did I do in my pronunciation?
You're doing really well.
Pretty close. We're getting closer. From the Irish American Business Chamber and Network here in Philadelphia, a great organization with a big Ambassador Award function tomorrow, and you'll be up there receiving one of those awards. But Philadelphia, one of the cities in America that really could claim the birthplace of democracy. A few other contenders, Boston would put up their hand, but a very important city in the founding of the United States. And you bring up some of the ideas here as America looks to celebrate its 250th anniversary. The Irish were there all along.
Absolutely. And, this morning I had the absolute pleasure of having a guided tour of the American Museum of Revolution and really understanding the history of America and how many Irish stories are weaved into the Declaration of Independence. I suppose back to the Uachtarán Award and what's brought me to Philadelphia first place. We're so honoured to be recognised by the Irish American Business Chamber Network for this award because I suppose a few fun facts that I looked up. Over 10% of residents of Philadelphia actually claim Irish heritage. So that's about 180,000 people that have a claim or link to Ireland, which is phenomenal, really, in a city like this. And so in an organisation that really understands and deeply cares about the Irish community and the links and the business links and the legacy, our museum exists to tell the stories of the Irish immigration. So to receive the award and be recognised in our 10th year of opening is very special to us.
It's not the first award the museum's won. An impressive array of awards in the tourism and travel sector.
In the tourism travel, we have a few, and we're very proud. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary in May this year. And in that time, we have been awarded Europe's leading tourist attraction 3 years in a row. So that's very special for us, beating off lots of competition all around Europe. I think we have the Sanford Award for Education in Museums for Children, which we treasure as well. And we're constantly up there in the top recognised by visitors on Google and on TripAdvisor. And really, we're there for our visitors, we're there for their experience. So to get that recognition is really important for us.
We're meeting at a bastion of Irish America here at Fergie's Pub. I asked around, where should I go in Philadelphia? And every response was, you got to go to Fergie's Pub. So at Fergie's Pub we will be talking to him. He's an Irish immigrant from Dublin. What does an Irish person feel when they come to an American city and they see the evidence of Irish in this country?
It makes you very proud. One of our greatest immigrant is our people, but it's how people have settled in the countries that they're part of and how important that is. And the Irish pub is known around the world for it's really known for community. So that sense, and you and I had a cup of coffee downstairs before we retreated to a quieter spot. And you just feel from the welcome, when I came in you could just see people at the table. You could hear the chatter. We're upstairs now, but you can just hear the chatter. And that's what an Irish pub is about, is the chatter, the welcome, the community, people connecting with each other. And whether that's to enjoy something to eat or drink, but more important, it's to talk, to share stories, to find a bit of support, to find that community abroad. And then when you're visiting a city, invariably, we will, wherever we go, probably end up at some stage in an Irish pub. And we love to travel, we love to experience new things, but whether it's just to pop in and see how it's adapted to this country, or often it's maybe to watch a sporting match, so particularly if it's GAA. So they are very much bastions of the community and that connection that people absolutely crave in our digital world.
Yeah, that's so important. We were in our last adventure in Ireland, we were in the Irish Midlands, and we talked to some Germans who were river cruising on the Shannon. We met up with them in Athlone, and they talked about going into a pub in Ireland, so different than a bar in Germany, because in Germany, nobody would talk to you. You would sit there by yourself, other people would talk to themselves, and you would be by yourself. So he said, it's not that way in an Irish pub. He said, the Irish are weirdly friendly.
It's definitely in our DNA. And it's funny, earlier this year, I had the pleasure of meeting Patrick Duffy, better known maybe to some as the man from Atlantis or as Bobby Ewing, and his wonderful partner, Pearl. And he had known through DNA check that and I suppose with a name like Patrick Duffy, he always knew his grandfather was Irish, but he had never traced his roots. And he took a DNA test some years back and knew that then his family were from County Mayo. We have a great team of genealogists at EPIC in Dublin, and he commissioned the genealogist to do some more research into his family background. And he won't mind me saying at all, that's traced all the way back to Mayo, and there's still a pub in Mayo called Duffy's Pub. And when he arrived there, his cousin, I can't remember, once or twice, third or fourth cousin said, "Welcome home, Patrick." And he and his partner made a fabulous documentary last year, really charting the change in the role of the pub. And as our world changes so fast around us, really the importance of that role in the community and how important that pub is. And it's a really wonderful documentary. I don't know if it's going to get shown here in the States.
I'll definitely have to look for that.
Yeah.
Aileesh, you've been with Epic not quite from the beginning, but for quite a long time. It's only been around for 10 years, so you've seen every step in the evolution. Now you are running the show with, I'm sure, a great team supporting you and a board helping lead the effort. But what are you building on that you can now stretch out into new directions? What are the plans?
Yeah,
for
so you can never stand still. I say often, if you stand still, you go backwards. So I am very lucky. We have a great founder who is very interested in the evolution and the development of Epic. So a couple of years ago, we embarked on really a 10-year master plan. So really looking at charting out the next 10 years. So we decided last year that the first phase of the master plan would be implemented to celebrate our 10th birthday. So we've been working on that in the last year. So we're about to unveil 3 brand new galleries with a much larger footprint, and really they're the first part of the museum, so making it even more immersive as soon as you arrive in the museum. The gallery I'm most excited about is called Isle of the Senses, and in the Isle of the Senses that will chart and evoke the Ireland that people left behind, but that what people take with them in the smell, the touch, the sense, and in their hearts. So you can smell the heather, you can smell the turf, you can touch the wolf and hear the sheep, you can touch the marble, the basalt from the Giant's Causeway, and there's a beautiful short video piece of places probably that people will most visit in Ireland, whether that's out onto the Burn or the Cliffs of Moher or the Ring of Kerry, Ben Bulben. So again, it's that island, that green island that you just take with you in your heart. And it would have been the one that many immigrants would have never returned to. So it was the one that they just left behind, really, but it influenced so much of what they did when they arrived in the New World, or indeed today when it's our visitor that comes. We love to think when you leave Epic that you feel a little bit more Irish, and that, again, that Isle of the Senses is a reminder, whether it's people just starting their journey and their visit to Ireland, or whether they're actually about to board the plane and leave. This is the memory and the feeling that they'll take.
That's great, because I've heard that your sense of smell is really the most evocative for bringing back memories. I know my Irish friends are crazy for berries tea and potatoes and those kinds of tastes of home.
That's what I'm drinking here.
And also it opens up the museum to a lot of other people who wouldn't normally get it. And it's a museum now that's saying, please touch.
It is, yeah. Please touch, please feel, please engage. Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question. Our audience is, the largest group is North Americans. Irish is the next group, and then the UK is the third in terms of our audience. And I know I'm making a big generality, but maybe you could come up with a archetypal visitor, an American visitor, an Irish visitor, and an English visitor. And what are the different stories they're taking away? How did they experience the museum differently?
We would get a lot of European visitors as well. So those that have Irish heritage, it's a very emotional journey mostly. And people will say that. And some, we say normal dwell time is about 90 minutes, but people have spent up to 4 or 5 hours really reading, involving, evoking everything that Epic has to offer. They leave with a deeper understanding of what it means to be Irish. They leave with the pride of Ireland. One of my favourite sayings is what one visitor said, is if you're not Irish, you wish you were. And there's another, which I love. Rhiannon is of Irish heritage. She grew up in Barbados. Her surname is Fenty. She has very recently given birth to a baby, and so connected is she to her Irish heritage that her baby's middle name is called Irish. And I think it's just that lovely emotional connection that people have to Ireland. A lot of our visitors are Irish, some are of Irish heritage, some are British, European. What they all want to leave with is just this deeper understanding of really what it means to be Irish.
Do Irish people know their own story of immigration?
Do you know what they do? Parts of it we learn in great detail. Our history lessons were always very detailed, but I think it reminds them, maybe the part that they don't know so much is what the Irish have achieved abroad. So they understand why we left, the pull and push factors of immigration. And most people have grown up with that, even recent times when we had the crash of 2008. And really post-COVID, we have a whole young generation really seeking better life somewhere else, or just fun and travel, and hopefully many will come back. So we're an island nation of just over 5 million. So we are going to have explorers and fortune seekers and fun, and people will immigrate. So it's very much part of our story. So Irish people really understand that. And I think they love just the ordinary stories, the who knew. They love things like exploring. We love our sports. So our sports table is really popular, where you can get a sense of, from currently Irish footballers playing Aussie rules, or we had a footballer who is playing American football is one of their kickers, or they can explore. For example, I didn't know till I started there that John McEnroe's of Irish heritage. So you get that real sense of pride in your country through the stories that interest you.
I'll mention two other athletes, Irish-American athletes in Philadelphia. There was John Kelly Sr., John Kelly Jr., both Olympic rowers, but eclipsed in fame by the daughter and sister, Grace Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know her. She came from a family of rowers.
Yeah, it's a big sport in Philadelphia on the river here.
And of course, Grace Kelly is absolutely one of the stories that we tell in Epic.
Just to end on a light note here, and in your story of Irish immigration, you must have come across the viral sensation, and I wrote his name down, but I can't find where I put it, but the viral sensation of the North Cork politician who was in the Dáil giving an impassioned speech, and it caught on in Jamaica. They couldn't believe how much his accent sounds Jamaican. So he's become like a viral sensation in Jamaica, and I'm really embarrassed I don't remember his name, but he's embracing it. And he wants to go to Dublin when there's a Jamaican festival, and he wants to get to know more Jamaican people and talk with them. But so that's a strange emigration connection that was made there.
Yeah, and it's not unusual for parts there. A lot of Irish were taken to Barbados, for example, as indentured servants, and their descendants still live in Barbados. Sadly, for some of them, not doing that well. Yeah. And they would speak with an Irish accent. And there are parts of Canada, again, you will come across whole communities, and it feels like you're somewhere in the west of Ireland with very strong Irish accent.
We'll be right back to our epic conversation with Aileesh Carew, a conversation that's all about connection, the global Irish connecting through shared stories. It's what we do at Irish Stew. Stay connected with us through our newsletter. Sign up through the link in the show notes to get Irish Stew news and updates on what's next on the pod. Now, back to Aileesh and some remarkable stories about the Irish fingerprint on America's founding.
Let's cover one more topic here. We are in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love and other things, and we are looking ahead to America 250 and the strong Irish element it has.
It's phenomenal how much of a footprint or a fingerprint, if you talk about signatories, that Ireland has in America 250 and the Declaration of Independence. For example, John Dunlop was the printer of the Declaration. He was born in Strabane in County Tyrone. He immigrated to Philadelphia here as a boy, and he built one of the city's most influential printing businesses, and he actually printed the Declaration working through the night on July 4th, 1776.
I did not know that.
So there you go. And he went on to produce in his print shop the first 200 copies of the Declaration of Independence, and only 26 of those survive. 3 of the signatories to the Declaration of Independence are from Ireland, Irish descent. So James Smith, who arrived in Pennsylvania in 1729, he became a leading lawyer in New York. And George Taylor was an indentured servant to a statesman. So I think I love that story as well, because how quickly, as an indentured servant, he moved to a statesman. He was Irish born, and he was signing some years later in 1776 the Declaration representing Pennsylvania. And there's one other story, I suppose, representing females. I love this story. We have a great historian in residence, Catherine Healy, And where she finds these stories, there's a lovely lady called Lydia Dara, and she's a woman, we would say that she helped save Washington's army. So she was Dublin born, a Quaker, Lydia Dara. She was living on South 2nd Street here in Philadelphia during the British occupation, and she secretly gathered intelligence from meetings held in her home. Smart lady. So in December 1777, she overheard plans for a surprise assault on Washington's troops at White Marsh. She disguised her mission as a trip to buy flour, and she crossed British lines to pass along the warning. So when the British forces arrived, the Continental Army was prepared, forcing their withdrawal.
And what was her name?
Lydia Dara.
Filmmakers out there.
Dublin makers.
Novelists.
So, yeah.
Let's get this story.
So when you meet Fergie, you'll have to say, do you know Lydia? I'll have to leave this with you so he can start to tell this story here in Philadelphia. So in partnership with the Department of Foreign Affairs, EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum, our historian in residence, Catherine, has curated a wonderful exhibition charting Ireland's influence in America 250. So that exhibition actually will be opened in 8 of our consulates here in the US from St. Patrick's Day, and they'll be shown, I believe, for the rest of the year.
So that's a great way you really are expanding your footprint.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Congratulations on the award. I look forward to seeing you hoist the trophy tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and we're very honoured to be here and very honoured, as always, John, to chat with you.
Loyal Irish Stew listeners might recall that we spoke with the previous EPIC Museum director, John Patrick Green, for an episode that dropped way back in 2022. So we appreciate that Aileesh Carew took the time out of her busy Philadelphia schedule to bring us up to date on the multiple award-winning Irish cultural gem celebrating its 10th anniversary, EPIC, the Irish Emigration Museum. Next week, Martin will be back as we share the buzz around the Capital Irish Film Festival in conversations with some of the great cinema talent at the annual Solus Nua event. And thanks to Irish Central for sharing our episodes with their global Irish audience. You know, beyond news, entertainment, and culture, Irish Central is a great resource for folks planning their next trip to Ireland. So find it all, and Irish Stew too, at irishcentral.com.
Irish Stew is produced by John Lee, Martin Nutty, and Bill Schultz. Editing, mixing, and mastering by Martin Nutty. Additional editing by Bill Schultz. Music on Irish Stew was composed and performed by Rosa Nutty, with Donal Bowens on drums, Cathal O'Riordan on bass and synthesizer. For more on Rosa Nutty's music, please visit rosanutty.com.